It's another beautiful Sunday morning. The sun is saying, can you come out to play? Hey, should have saw it coming, should have caught the warning. But I took a taste, like candy rain, running rivers through the sun.
Hey, it is me, Wanda B of IntellectualRadio.com. He said, she said, and it's a beautiful Sunday morning, afternoon, and Bab Savage, who sings this song, Hot Apple Pie, is going to be here in the studio April 23rd. I'm so excited. That whole week, she's going to have a Steppers tour, so I know my Steppers watch me. If y'all watching, we're going to be out every day of the week somewhere stepping, heroes, everywhere you can think of. I want you all out stepping that week, but watch her here on the 23rd, and we'll list everywhere you can go out stepping with her. And I'm here with my crew. They all here, the he's and the she's, and he said, she said. I got in Yacht too.
Hey.
Nemia, N-Dot
in the building.
and KP.
KP. I'm on. Wait a minute. Let me lean in.
Go on, lean in, KP. Lean back.
Got to lean in.
Lean in, man.
Lean back.
Okay.
Lean back.
So my crew here, they said we're all discussing what should our next topic be, and a lot of times I let them run the show, come up with the hot ideas. They like to bring the sizzle. KP came up with this one.
KP came up with this one.
KP came with this one,
Yes.
and Yatu came with the title.
And Yatu seconded.
Seconded it. I think that he's led this one, so this should be interesting.
Wow, men leading.
Men leading.
Men leading.
Oh,
They do that?
It might be a
Unbelievable.
trending thing.
Apparently, women say we don't.
Oh,
We
see,
gonna
this
lead.
I don't know.
We're going to show the difference. We're going to show y'all we can lead in
Let's
this
see what you're
situation.
capable of.
All right.
So
Judgment. Immediate judgment.
here on IntellectualRadio.com with Wanda B. What we talking about today in Yatu?
We are talking about whether or not black men and women of color can unify. We know there's a divide. We know there's an underlying beef in our community. And can it be healed? Can this change? Of course, not overnight, but is it possible at all to repair this situation between us?
So what I'd like for you all to do is chime in on this conversation, and we're going to do it a couple different ways this time. I want you to do it here on Facebook Live. Then I want you to go to Intellectual Radio, He Said, She Said, on YouTube. And my girl N-Dot is going to be funneling your questions there and your input. So we're going to have you both places. Facebook Live, chime in, be a part of the show by telling us what you think on this topic. Can we unify? We unified on the topic.
We did. We did
There
a good
it
job
is.
with coming together.
See?
We all made it to the table.
We
He
all
said,
agreed
she
that
said,
there needs to
leading
be
by example.
some form of unity to occur. So we agreed that.
We agreed on one thing, but let's name some things we don't agree on. I hear often, and this week we have a group on Facebook called He Said, She Said. Join the group if you like, join in the discussion. We kind of keep these topics going. There's a shortage of good black men. Oh my goodness. There's a shortage of you guys. And a lot of women feel this way. And I think it sometimes causes a divide between us, because if you set out on a date and you think this rarity of a good black man is hard, what do you guys think on that?
Well, I think people need to manage their expectations. There's only going to be one right person for you in the long run. And that's not to say that all your other experiences will be bad, but if all your, if there was this abundance of good black men out here, women would lose their minds like at a shoe sale. We know when y'all like everything, it gets hard. And so I think that would be the case in this situation, that, you can have some good experiences, but there shouldn't be 100 good men lined up at your door. That's not going to create an environment where you can learn how to be the best you and prepare yourself for that one who's the right person for you, whether it's for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. That's just my input.
But where do you think this started? Where did this whole concept even start from?
She's making over here.
I know.
Go ahead, because she's an avid dater, so she does want 100 men lined up.
Well, I don't think. Why should good black men be a rarity rather than we should have more good than we have bad.
Good black women are a rarity as well.
They are. There are.
I don't
But what
think-
I'm saying
Okay.
is our expectations should be that the bad is far less than the good. And the fact is that we're accepting of the fact that there's a shortage on the good than it is the bad.
Why do we think there's a shortage at all? I need to rewind. Back to you saying there's a shortage of good black. There's no shortage, in my opinion,
I agree. Can you
of
keep in mind?
either good black men or good black women. Where's the shortage idea coming from? That's what I like to start off with. Well, why do we feel there's a shortage?
Keep in mind that because someone is not good for you does not mean they're not good at all.
Absolutely.
I think a lot of times somebody's just not for us, and we're stereotyping and throwing everybody in the same lump together, saying that there's no good black men. I mean, he just wasn't. In some cases, there of course some people who just aren't good, period. But I think in a lot of cases, somebody's just not a match for you. They're just not looking for what you're looking for, and because it's not, you just throw them in that category, and it's not warranted.
And I absolutely agree with Enyatu. And before you guys go commenting, well, the women don't like the good brothers out here. We just don't like you. It's nothing about you being a good guy, a bad guy. He just doesn't like you, ladies and men. You're just not my type. You're somebody else's good man, and somebody else will appreciate you. But I think your ears look funny.
I have a question for the ladies. Are you ladies the exact same with every person that you date, or do different types of people bring out different sides of you? Because I'm not the same person, exact same. I'm in Yatu regardless, but one person can do the same thing as another person. It drives me crazy, and the other person do it something about the way they do it. It doesn't bother me at all. So it's not the same to me, and that's why I don't find myself saying that there's no good black women out here. I find an abundance of great black women out here, and people always ask me, why didn't you marry her? And why didn't you marry her? And they're great. They're just not necessarily great for me, or I'm not necessarily great for them. But it's no shortage, in my humble opinion.
Toussaint said, and I agree with him, we have to unify as black men and women, or we will cease to exist. I mean, how do we make things better if we don't work together? And I'm going to throw in, as we always do, all of us like you guys on Facebook to chime in. So I'm going to throw some in because they're going with their topics.
Right.
Katie Lowe, who has a show here at Intellectual Radio as well, Rhythm and Flow with Katie Lowe, on Fridays at 5 p.m. And then you can catch her all through the week. She keeps her show going. She said, are they dead, gay, or in jail? Oops, that's another show.
Ooh.
The good man, gay, dead, or in jail. And
Not
that's the thing women say, isn't it?
That is the stereotype that the media has presented us, and women tend to run with. I don't particularly believe that as a concept. That's like me saying every black woman got an attitude. Is the same thing as a woman saying they're gay in jail.
Right. We perpetuating the stereotype. Toussaint actually said the problem is the definition of good is defined by standards that are created by someone other than you. Right. And so that ties to what KP just said. I do too. Toussaint is participating on a high level today. We appreciate you sharing your wisdom with us, black man.
Here's the thing. When it comes to the good or the bad, and those terms, like you all have said, really is based on a person's perception of what it is. And Yatu asks, am I the same person when I date? The core of Nemia is exactly the core of who I am when I go into whatever situation that, what do we call the last that? Situationship that I engage in. However, there are different engagements that do bring out either the best in you, and I'm always searching for and somewhat clinging to those interactions that make Nemia a better person, that I learn from, as opposed to being with someone and I'm like, what the heck? How did I get here? Like, dude, are you serious right now? Are you absolutely serious? This can't be real life.
Right.
But there are women, because of the stereotype, that either they're gay, they're in jail, or they're quote unquote undateable, that they have to settle. And so you oftentimes have the bad seeds that ruin the good. And so you have these bad seed experiences where, he mistreat you, or, not a stand-up brother, and women run with that and think that that is the whole. So we get this idea that all men are bums or, out in these streets being players.
This is what I equate it to. You know how like I sometimes I argue with black people about, they say things like, do black people care about black people, or do Black Lives Matter to black people?
Right.
And I say, listen, all the black people I know, yes. Every black person I know, Black Lives Matter to them. It's the same thing for me. The way I look at women and dating is like, sometimes women have so many bad experiences that they just say, hey, all men are bad. Well, if the media is telling you all black people are criminals, then in your mind, you're like, all black people are criminals, except when you change your circle and the people you're around and that kind of stuff. Quite honestly, you date a better quality of man, you stop to think that all men are bad.
Yeah. Tony says, just because a man won't commit to women's ideas of how we should act and behave doesn't make us bad men. I absolutely agree with that, Tony, but being a gentleman is not like a woman's idea. But a lot of guys say, hey, I'm not subscribing to what society, I'm not going to open the door for you. And I don't have to, treat you a certain kind of way or be mindful of certain things. It's pretty lame. You can't use that as an excuse to excuse poor behavior. Tony.
On the flip side of that, there are women who is like, I'm not waiting for you to open the door. Like, that's old fashioned. I can open my own
somebody
door.
Yell at me.
Multiple women have yelled at me about that over the years.
Opening the door for them?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. But are you going to
Everybody's
let
not
that
the same.
keep you from opening doors?
Definitely not from that being my mentality. But if this is who I've been hanging out with for 3 weeks, and then I hang out with you, I have trained and conditioned myself a little bit where you might have to remind me one time, and I say, oh yeah, I got to snap out of that. I'm not with that same person, and open the door. So occasionally I have forgotten to open a car door, not a door of a woman walking in, but just jumping out of the car and keeping it moving. But I think that we have to talk about the start of this issue, that there is an agenda out here that's not being controlled by us to keep people divided.
Absolutely.
We're
TV,
and we're falling for
radio, and we are falling for it all day,
people agree with
every
the TV notion.
day.
I'm so
I mean, it existed before TV even came into play, and so we have to be conscious of that, and we all have to like reset. Everybody has to take responsibility and accountability for themselves, and we have to reset. It's 2017. It's not the 60s. It's not the 30s. It's not even the 90s anymore.
Right.
We have to assess the situation right now for what it is, and we have to make some determinations for ourselves. And we live in the good thing about it being 2017, this is a very individualized world, that people can dress different, people can move different. Some people work from home, some people work from the job, and the same thing exists with dating, relationships, marriage, and things of that nature, that you have to, be comfortable with customizing things for you. That if you've been trying the same old thing for years and years in dating and in relationships, and it's not bringing about your happiness,
right,
then you have to reassess that. Then my father used to say that to me all the time, that what got you from 10 to 1 to 10 is not going to work from 10 to 20, and what worked from 10 to 20 is not going to work for 20 to 30. And so you really have to be constantly evolving and reassessing your thinking and reassessing what's going on, because a lot of times we're attracting the same people over and over again, and we really believe in our minds, because we've done that the whole world is the same, and it's not. That's just what you're attracting.
And y'all to read what Toussaint said, please.
Awesome. The stereotypical definition of good equals security for women, i.e. job, faithful, nice. Now, what the hell does any of that have to do with his character?
Now go down to Tony's comment.
He said, what is a good man? And then he said in the 60s and 70s, the government passed laws that required black women to keep the black man from their home in order to receive assistance. We have never recovered from those policies.
And now let's fast forward, Tony, to 2017. There are no laws that are keeping you outside of the household at this point. And so there are no boundaries or barriers.
That's not true.
That are keeping you.
Jesus.
My thing is, you have full control of being intentional about being present. You have full control of that.
Just like a woman can do things to make you and assist with your being present.
I'm not trying to be funny.
Well, a woman can't. Again,
a woman can keep you out.
I go back to, I can only control me. So if you're intentional about being present, not just in the relationship, in the community, in the family dynamics around, that's your intention. So that's your drive every single day.
So I'm going to share
regardless of what
very small, short personal story about my life. I
Make
had
it short.
I had a woman got pregnant, did not tell me. I found out later. Decided she was going to do it on her own, and I said no. I'm going to step up. Everything from the point that she got pregnant until I was like, I'm going to step in and be a parent was I'm going to do this myself. No matter how intentional I am, my daughter lives 100 miles away. No matter how intentional I am, I still have to follow somebody else's kind of rules about how I can interact and be a parent. I can't ever just be like, oh, I'm going to just take my daughter and she's going to live with me. I don't have that option because the law is not set up for me to be like, I'll be a parent this way. So you can't just say, being
before you
intentional,
jump in, I'm gonna throw
means
two sentences in
it's okay.
both at the same time. I want you to address both at the same time.
Let me address that
Because it's the same thing.
Let
It's
him
the same
say
thing.
it. Go ahead.
I went to court. I had to go to court for 5 years to be in my son's life. So when you say that the laws aren't designed to keep us out of the house or out of our kids' lives and things of that nature, to some degree, you're living in a bubble because you haven't been on this side of the fence. The lawyer, the judge, everybody was very adamant about keeping me out of my son's life.
But here's the intention. Did you see it through though?
Does everybody
Absolutely.
think like me?
My son is with me right now.
That's the intention.
But what happened in those 5 years?
I'm not saying that things are not set up bogusly. I absolutely, and that's a conversation for another day. I do feel that when it comes to family
that's what I was about to say. Give him the call and
write it in there, please.
Okay. However, there's still, even with KP, you're still present.
Everybody can't afford a lawyer. Everybody can't do what I did to get where I'm at.
You may not be able to afford
present though, right?
I did it without a lawyer. That's probably why it took 5
not because it's set up for me to be present. It's set up for me to not be
But let's not get stuck on this. Let's
not get stuck on this.
Don't think that your experience is the only experience, that's true for the whole world. Because
that would make a man better.
The laws are not necessarily set up to
promote.
It inferred as if that now it's changed. And now you can't, that those laws have changed. They haven't really changed. They are still not set up to keep.
If I moved in with my child mom, she wouldn't get child care. My baby would not be able to get child care or any services. That's set up for me to be away.
That stuff has not. And you know what?
I'm just saying.
And here's the thing. Nimi is going to take the L on this one. I misspoke in saying that laws.
Write this down. Somebody keep track of this.
See, they are good women who can admit it.
I can. I misspoke with saying that there are not laws. My point was that we are all in a seat of being intentional. And when it comes to family dynamics, I don't have children, so I really can't delve into that. But when it comes to the interaction between Black men and Black women, we have to be more mindful, intentional on how we handle one another.
And let me give an example of being intentional. Benjamin Riley, who I'm glad you're chiming in here, says women will never understand this horrible dynamic. Right there is part of the problem.
Yes.
Stop lumping all women, all men. You may know a woman who doesn't see it that way. Why do we make all women and all men?
Because everybody speaks from their perspective.
We have a caller.
Yeah, everyone does speak from their perspective.
Hi, this is Intellectual Radio. He said, she said, who am I speaking with? And where are you calling from?
This is Marinate Williams out of Hammond, Indiana.
Okay.
Right.
What's happening,
What
bro?
would you like to say on this topic about unity, us men and women unifying?
First off, I want to say great topic, great show. Got a question for the ladies, because it always comes up for me when I talk to women. I'm interested in knowing. So when you talk about unifying, one of the things we got to start unifying on is parenting. And what's very difficult for men sometimes is when we decide that we no longer want to be in relationships, we would have to leave not only the woman, but we leave our child, unless, like the brother was talking about, going to court and all of that. And me personally, I don't believe in getting the state in my affairs. So my question for the ladies is, if you had a child, if you got a child, and you had to leave the man you are with, but you have to leave him
and the baby
and see your kids on the weekend, or you have to deal with him and be with him every day, which would you choose? Because that is the reality for most Black men.
Wow. That's a great
you're asking from a woman's perspective,
Yes.
if we had to leave our children. You know what?
If you were with a man that you didn't really particularly care for, and you wanted to leave, see, when you all leave, when the women leave, y'all take the baby with y'all. So y'all go.
Leaving
y'all just
him
start a new family.
doesn't equal leaving your baby.
And that is one of our issues. I'm going to speak for women. Thank you, Marionette. I appreciate that. We're going to answer you, and thank you for chiming in. What is a big problem with women is that we sometimes want to control the man and use the child as the weapon to control him with. We don't put our children's needs, wants above our own, or we sometimes will use the child as a tool to hurt you, to get back at you, and it's wrong, and it is a problem that's making us not be unified because
we're not the whole.
I'm not speaking from the whole, but I'm speaking from the experience of these three men.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I got to address their experiences.
Okay.
They are experienced. There are women doing this. It's not you and I.
Absolutely.
It's not us. But obviously, this is what's causing us not to unify because women are doing this. This is a problem. Why we can't unify? Because we're using our children as little chess pieces. Mm-hmm. And now it's causing us not to like women because now you're taking my loved one, my seed away from me to get back at me because either I don't want to be with you. I want my child. I don't necessarily want to be with you. But if you don't want to be with me, you can't be with my baby. Or you're not giving me just $1,000. I give you $500. You want $1,000. That's not enough. You can't see your child. I mean, this is an issue that's happening. Unfortunately, we do need to address because it's making us not be unified, and that is an issue. And it's not either of us. But
I think the key is that it's not nothing's the majority of people.
The people who aren't, the women who aren't doing it are downplaying. Nini's like, not me. So it's not real. Niall Kenyon's on here like, she's not excused from the system. This is He Said, She Said radio on Intellectual Radio. Who are we speaking with and where are you calling from?
Dreams are coming true.
Tucson, what's good, bro?
I'm from
South side of Chicago, everybody. We got people in Africa listening, so they got to know.
So real quick, I ain't gonna hold y'all, man, but this is something that took me a long time to learn and understand. A lot of our interfaces is through the concept of white supremacy, right? Most of our interfaces. Every institution in America is defined by these systems. So essentially, we relate through these ideals and idealistic way of views, right? So we approach each other from the standpoint of how does this community operate? And we define ourselves by those standards. But in doing that, we negate the power that we actually have as a community, right? So we say, like I said in that statement where, how do we define security? And it's basically a job, being faithful, and being nice. But when you put in perspective that black men specifically don't control the process of getting to a job, how do we equate that as part of the definitive of what good is? So we see ourselves through the eyes of whiteness and then relate to those eyes. That's always going to be detrimental to us. Until we let go of that system, our relationships are going to always be defined by these terms.
Absolutely. Thank you, Tucson.
Awesome. Great point.
Awesome.
Great
Thank
point.
you. Great point.
Now, I will say to Tucson's point is that we can't look at other images to create what our interaction should be in our community. We should be the sculptor and molding what those images, interactions look like. We understand the controls that be. And so when we go forward, we should be more kind towards one another. If I tell a brother, hey, I'm not interested in exchanging numbers with you, it shouldn't come off as, I'm this or I'm that or you not all that, because we understand that outside of the parameters of our community, the dynamics that exist. So we have to be mindful and handle each other with a little bit more care, a little bit more gentle hand than what we do currently.
I agree totally. Everybody put the anger down.
Yeah.
You can't unify if you're mad. You cannot
Absolutely.
influence somebody and antagonize them at the same time. So even if what you're saying about a black man or a black woman is true, if you're firing shots, that person is not going to hear you. It's just going to turn into an argument. It's going to be just a bunch of noise. And that's That's why that's what's being pitched to us. That's why that's what's being pitched to us in the media, and subliminally and overtly, we are accepting these images of what's good and what's bad and what we should be doing and what should be not be doing. And that is really the key to the problem, I believe, that people aren't in control of their own mind. They're not in control of their own thoughts, and they're not even in control of their own perspectives. They have perspectives that have been adopted or delivered to them. And so every day I go into social media and the majority of people are talking about the same thing. And so people ask me all the time, why you don't talk about this subject or talk about that subject? It's because the media is controlling what's on your mind all day, every day. And I refuse to let it control what's on my mind or my perspective all day, every day.
Now, I love a good Ratchet TV. I am a community of Ratchet Mondays, but I understand that is scripted entertainment television.
There's the difference.
And unfortunately, there are a lot of men and women who watch that crap and really think it's real life. Kirk Frost and Rashida, they ain't real life. Like, the mess that they're going through is not real life, and so to
and
go
then they pattern their lives after that.
Yeah, and to go and perpetuate it in your real life interaction.
Yeah, I don't know who Rashida is either. Don't worry.
Love hip-hop.
Absolutely absurd.
And I don't watch, but
I think that's the biggest issue that I have with reality TV is there are people who don't know that there's propaganda. People who know that it's propaganda, who can look at it and take the entertainment and go on about their business, please watch it, Nemia. However, I feel like too much of a large segment of our community, being Black people, we don't even understand that they're selling you something in order to be like, oh, I know they're selling me something. I'll still watch it, but I'm going to watch it in a different way.
Absolutely.
Right.
Benjamin Riley says you have to fire shots, and I'm going to disagree with you, brother. I disagree. I believe you can make your point without it having to be a low blow, without punching somebody in the gut. I think you can make your point potent, and you can even make it sharp without cutting somebody. And so we are being lazy, and it's something I was thinking about earlier today riding in the car in communication. And we are lazy communicators, that we just deliver it the easiest way we can get to it, and we wondering why it's never being received properly. So are you just firing shots to make yourself feel good after firing the shot, or are you trying to make a difference? Because if you're trying to make a difference, I don't see how you're going to influence anybody's mindset by firing shots at them. You're going to make them angry, and they're going to ignore what was true about what you said, and they're going to focus on the fact that you were either being disrespectful.
He's saying it's not a low blow. He's being direct.
There's a difference between petty and direct.
Go ahead, brother. Address that.
I'm petty. I'm put this out here.
We're not getting nobody. This is our brother.
This is a dialogue.
My name is Nemia, and I know.
I know the difference between me being petty and me being direct. There's a huge difference.
What's the difference?
For me,
in general, I'm not.
For me, when I'm being direct, I'm trying to get a point across that's helpful to both sides. I'm gonna say something that's gonna be real direct, but it's gonna help me because I get it out. It's gonna help you because I'm coming the best way I can. Me being petty is I'm gonna say this. I don't really care how you take it, and quite honestly, I know it's probably gonna offend you.
Yes.
But I'm gonna say it anyway.
And unfortunately, that's kind of the way when we have these dialogues between the two, that's what we do. We go the petty route where we say things that we know are hurtful, that are sore spots,
and they might be true,
to get under your skin. That may be true, but we know that when you're being direct, there is a way to deliver the message and it not be offensive, but you're just stating the opinions. We've done that today on this panel. I don't think anyone's feelings has been heard, and we've all had they love me.
Love fest. You're listening to He Said, She Said on IntellectualRadio.com. We've been talking about how can Black men and women unify, and that's what we're really after. Sometimes it takes tough dialogue to hear things we don't want to hear, but we have to accept it. We have to be willing to hear how the guys are feeling, how the women are feeling, so we can heal it. We have to get it out. So we have to say it, and there is a difference between being direct, being offensive, being petty. We know the difference.
Yes, you just said
being petty. So here's the petty thing. A lot of the guys have been like, so what's a good man? He's 6 feet, making 6.
Talk like that.
That's petty.
Actually, it's Katie Lowe who posted that comment.
No, it's a lot of people on this thread that have been posting. So what's the definition? So definition for a good man for Nemia is someone who's family oriented, who's social, who enjoys having fun, who has their own life, and is a stand-up honest dude. Like, you just ain't lying just to be lying, and we can communicate. That's just for me.
And
now,
for me, every man is good.
Oh,
Period.
wow.
every human being is good.
Every man is good. Why are we putting this definition on what a good man is?
Absolutely.
Any man is good.
I think what her good is good for me.
It's good for me.
And
And
so
that's what it
my number one
Add
rule,
that to your sentence.
my number one rule,
me.
know your personnel. Know your personnel starts knowing yourself.
Right.
For me, a lot of people, men and women, don't even know themselves well enough to know, hey, this is a good man for me or not. That's my first point. Second, I honestly believe that when we start down the good and good for me, like when you go down that path, like if you know what worked for you, you don't even have to say, hey, this is not a good woman. You can say, hey, this is just not
I agree.
good.
It's doing what's best for you.
We're not compatible. Use that word compatible.
Well, here's the thing.
We're not
The
compatible.
point of the comments, though, is to make women appear that we're shallow and that we're always looking for surface things, where no, like, dude, we just don't like you. It could be that I'm just not attracted to your good qualities. You're just not as we've said for the last couple of minutes, 30 or so minutes, you're just not
We don't look for good in
that
people, though.
woman.
We don't look for good in people.
Okay.
We look for flaws in people. When you go out to date, you're looking for a reason, like,
Especially
what about my past?
if you come to the table with there's a shortage of good men, my first thing is to see if you're not that short.
That's it, right.
So you are looking. You're set it.
So,
In my opinion,
Y'all judge men's shoes, like,
Don't say y'all. Some.
Some.
We got to change the language. That's what I'm talking about. This communication. It's not
That's true.
for me. Some. When you start saying most and everybody and y'all, stop that. We got to stop that. This has been my experience, and anybody's experience is real to you. And so we're not trying to take away from your experience, but you have to understand that that's all
Your
it
truth
is.
versus
It's 365 million
Absolutely.
people in America. Even if you've dated and been in relationships and been married to 1,000, that's less than 1,000% of the population. You don't have a big enough sample to speak for everybody or most people, and that's all of us. We all have to be conscious of that. The communication is the key to every relationship.
It really
and
is.
so if we're going to unify, we have to get a dialogue going where the communication is effective and not just accusatory.
Toussaint said all relationships are mirrors. So if you don't meet good, if you don't meet good, whatever you need to look at, you need to look internally. Look internally if that person isn't good. But I do think in my opinion, to define what is good for me, I don't even actually need to say that out. I mean, it's for me. So why does it matter? I'm not judging whether he's good or bad. I just have a determination of what I like, don't like, doesn't make him not good. I do think we have to work on how we are perceiving each other and our experience. We have an experience with one and we do this big lumping thing.
Oh, yeah.
That women, all y'all women do this. All y'all women do that. We've had one experience with one woman. Why do we one experience with one man?
I was guilty of saying
Very big of you.
I was guilty of calling women crazy.
Yes.
And in reality, it's like, hey, this same woman might have done something crazy because I did something, but women aren't crazy. Women might be a little bit more emotional than I am. So when they do something emotional, I'm calling it crazy. So I'm like, oh, she crazy. She crazy. She crazy. And then I started to look back at my actions and be like, wait a minute, she did this because I did this. So it's not necessarily, I might consider her actions crazy, but she's not a crazy person because in reality, she took whatever step based on something. So something happened, she took a step, whatever. So for me, like, I stopped calling women crazy completely, even when they do crazy stuff.
Thank you.
But that's me.
Even if they do crazy
But
stuff.
I had to have a personal.
Everybody does crazy.
I had to have an awakening. But you know what happened? A woman taught me that. A woman was open enough to be like, hey, KP, let's talk about this. And then I had to reflect on my own.
Can I say that? Most of my learning, I'm not in school anymore. I do read a lot of books. I read a lot. But most of the things that I learn is from conversing with super intelligent women. I have super friends. We superheroes. But I have a question for all the listeners and viewers. And I have a question for everybody on the show. And my question is when you meet somebody that's not for you, does that make you angry?
Say that again.
When you meet a guy or a woman that's not for you, that doesn't match up with what your definition of a good man or woman, does that make you angry? And if so, why?
What is there to be angry?
Why are you upset?
I believe for some, it's the frustration because they're looking. They're hunting and looking. They're looking and wanting so desperately that they meet someone with such great potential. You have that potential and put so much hope into it that they become frustrated because just another one. I met another guy who was on BS. And so, unfortunately, I think it's the frustration when you are actively looking. Yeah. Terry Connor said you can't generalize men and women and put them all in one bucket. And I think we do that so often, of generalizing our men and our women into these buckets.
Absolutely. To go back to the question, we're just a small fraction of a voice right now. We're just laying out a conversation that can be picked up and carried on. But to go to that question, I think a lot of people, you're hurt because you allowed yourself to be vulnerable to a situation that hurt your feelings. And not that is right, not that is wrong, but like your feelings get hurt and you get upset. And we're all guilty of it to some extent at one point in time in our lives. But where the maturity is to say that that's a lesson learned. That's that small experience.
No such thing as wasted time. No such thing.
And I'm not going to allow that to taint my image or me pursuing anything else further. I got a real wretched comment.
Please say this. Because I want to address it because it was directed at
the message is for the brothers. Tell the brothers, be honest. It's like they trying to get women or dates. Be honest.
We're trying to get some dates.
Y'all women do messed up stuff, then blame us for it.
Point is that we're not being honest, and that
women are really. I went to court for 5 years to get my son. I'm not admitting that sometimes some
women do horrible things. Some
women do all men and women do horrible things. Women don't. Exactly. They're as bad in every group. Where's the bucket thing again? Women, you met a bad woman. Poor you. Sad for you. Every woman not like that. Move on, get over it, and don't pick a dummy like that no more. Sorry, I don't mean to call her a dummy. I'm just saying that women, there are bad people. We can't, but we're not all bad. You've had a bad experience. You're gonna have to heal from that.
You're gonna have another one too.
You may have another one, especially if you think like that. If you keep anger inside of you over this one bad one. Everyone is not like that, please. And we have to heal from these experiences. We are going to have bad experiences with people, and we're got to heal from them.
So absolutely. Terry Connor says we have types, and we automatically count out someone when they don't meet our standards and what good looks like. And this general thing of good and bad men, I think we're all saying that. Like, what is this definition of good that we judge everyone by?
I don't know.
Yeah, we think these experiences expose the other person. But if you understand life and you understand the universe, that when you have these interactions, it's to expose some things about you. It's for you to grow. And so if you're stepping back and you're saying, hey, I'm already where I need to be, this guy or this woman aren't where they need to be, and you aren't seeing anything internally, then that's why you're frustrated. You're not getting, that's why you think you're not getting anything out of it. That when you meet the wrong person, your interaction with them, I don't care if it's 2 conversations or it's 100 conversations or what the extent of the relationship is, that it was designed and it was sent to you to expose some things to you about you. And it wasn't to teach you to think that all men and women are bad. It wasn't to make you think that there's no good in the world. It was to expose some things about you, your approach, what you're doing, and for you to make some adjustments.
KP is over here antagonizing me to say some comments.
I wasn't making you say
read the comments because I want to get
honestly, men aren't tonally honest while dating, but it's the game. And quite honestly, I can't agree. I feel like some men are honest and some men aren't. Some women are honest, some women aren't. Like that's true. That's going to be the case no matter what. My dating is put everything on the table and see what happens. Yeah. That's my dating.
It's an experiment.
It doesn't work all the time. Oh well.
It's dating. You're not gonna get on punishment or you're not gonna get in trouble.
But that goes back to our age-old what is dating for people, which we're not gonna get into. But that's where the problem comes in. If you going into dating like, hey, this is gonna be my boo from day one, you're gonna invest too much.
Right.
And then you're gonna feel like you wasted your time, and then you're gonna be like, men ain't crap. And then
we're addressing the topic of men not being craps. the whole point of now I put everybody in this bucket. Why do we have experiences and lump every man and every woman?
Because we would rather point the finger and play the blame game than to look at ourselves. I look at the man in the mirror in every situation.
Know your personnel starts at home. It starts at home. Knowing yourself.
But here's the thing also, too, when we have these conversations, we never get to the point of, so how can we grow together?
Okay,
what can
let's
we
go
do?
there.
Start at home.
Okay.
Start with
yourself.
Okay.
I can have a bad date. I can have a horrible experience with a woman. I don't even, like, honestly, probably not gonna have no more kids, but I trust new women. I just don't trust my child's mom the same way. If I can put her in her own little bucket, I can live my life the way I want to live my life and not have to worry about other women. I've had horrible experiences with women in the past before. I'm not blaming new women. When I go out to date, I go on a date to enjoy myself, period. If it turns into something, cool. If it don't, then cool.
And I think people need to understand this, that no matter how deplorable or horrible a person is for you, understand that there's somebody else out here who loves that. They love that.
I live in drama.
What they've been looking for. I hear people complain about things so often, and then occasionally I bump into somebody who that's the thing that y'all complaining about, or other people, some people are complaining about. That's the exact thing that they're looking for. That's the thing that they love. And so you have to root for people. You have to cheer for people. You have to be a well-wisher. Like, you know what? Somebody's going to love that attitude you have. Somebody's going to love the way you approach relationships. It's just not me.
Yep. Yeah. And my thing is be intentional. Be intentional about what you want. Be intentional about what you're pursuing, and go for it.
Break down being intentional.
Being intentional means that, hey, if I'm in it to find a good brother, just because he didn't meet the criteria does not mean that my next guy I come against, I'm going to have more standards and all of these things. Just be intentional about who it is that you are and what it is that you're looking for.
Stay in your lane.
Stay in your lane.
Stay in your lane.
And enjoy it in the midst of it.
If you're dating for a relationship, you date for a relationship. If you meet somebody who's dating for leisure and fun, don't date that person. We trying to but he's 6 feet and he light skinned and I like that. So I'm gonna keep dating him, knowing he's told you from day one that's not what I'm on.
I'm 6 feet and light skinned. You the stereotype. No, I'm just kidding. I'm totally just kidding.
Always. Ashley, hey girl. Ashley McGee says, do people still date? I think they should, but rarely see anyone ask or schedule a proper date. I go on dates. I go on proper dates.
And we're going to make that a different topic
for a different show. But it's a different show. I agree.
Right now, what you pose the question, Amy, and I think is very important because we're going down to the last half hour or so of this show on He Said, She Said on IntellectualRadio.com. We've been talking about how do we unify. So we got a lot of problems. We can learn all the different examples. We all have so many experiences that we can say. We know women are holding the children hostage, a little holding them rooks, and the men think women. We just all want to marry you as soon as we meet you. I don't know. We all have so many things. So how do we heal this? Where do we start to say what do we do differently to have different results? Let's all hear some of your suggestions. So let me hear your suggestions on Facebook Live too. I think we all know we have issues and problems, but we'd love to hear from you guys. If you can tell us what you think we could do to heal it.
Okay, so number one, rather than be out here looking for a good black man or a good black woman, maybe we should we need to try to create an environment that encourages black men to be better black men and black women to be better black women. That we have these dialogues where all these shots are being fired and it's not an environment that's conducive to improvement. It's not an environment that's conducive to being honest.
Version, say that in a sentence. What would you say to do?
And we need to create an environment that encourages people to be the best that they can be. That if we're constantly firing shots and talking about everything bad, it's actually discouraging people from being honest. So there was a post on He Said, She Said the other day where we're talking about women who walk away from men never having been there from the beginning or never loving that man to the beginning. And I admitted that when I get in a tough situation, I'm a Cancer. Sometimes I run into my Cancer shell. I push romantic interests away and try to deal with things on my own. And women chimed in like, thank you for being honest. But I know for other men and even for myself, I wondered to myself, did I just create more of a problem because it made all those women think we're right and there's no situation where a woman is walking away and didn't love the man in the right, love the man the right way right from the beginning. So we have to create an environment that's conducive to conversation and conducive to improvement. And so that's my suggestion. The other suggestion is clean up the communication. I said it earlier, we have to be more effective, that we have to take the anger, the shots, and all of that out of communication and have a dialogue. And in order for that to happen, we have to reset, we have to let go of the anger, we have to let go a lot of the things that have happened in the past and decide we're going to deal with today moving forward.
I would say be open to love. Know that your community can love. Stop feeding into the propaganda that Black people can't have successful relationships, that we're dysfunctional. We are built to be compatible for one another. And so be open to that. Be open to new experiences and enjoy it. Don't let, your few bad seeds taint your entire image of the whole. That's for both men and women.
Terry Connor said, create an environment and allow the examples to be tangible and stop blaming and create solutions. Because the blame game, you women do this, you all do this, you men do this. This blame is not helping us. So let's work on solutions.
Khalid's solution is fairly simple. Your past is not your future. And it's that simple for me. Anything I've been through today, anything I've been through in my past is never going to determine anything. Unless I'm dating the same woman, then it's going to be different. And it's that simple. If you go into your situation saying, hey, this is a new person, even if what they do look just like the last one, they still a different person. And the reasons why they do what they do might be different and all that kind of stuff. Like, you never know anybody's anything, but we're conditioned. We're trained from day one. If it looked like a duck and it quacked like a duck, it's a duck.
And
that's how we're conditioned.
Piggyback on what you said.
Hold on one second. What if it's a guy in a duck costume?
Yeah, I don't get that, but explain.
It's not always what it looked like. It ain't always going in day one. Like, it's not always what you think it's going to be. So if you come into it with a more open mind, then you make different choices.
And I think I'm going to say, don't have any expectations of other people. Focus on you. No expectations. That's duck. I don't care whether you're wearing a costume. I don't care whether you.
This came through today.
Whether you're dressed as a duck. What I'm going to do is me. I just really a strong foundation of your wants, what you don't like, and all you're controlling is you. Leave any preconceived of what this person is going to do, shouldn't do, whether he is or isn't, whether that woman is or isn't, whether she is or isn't. Who cares? Have a clear foundation of you. And then you're not having any judgment. I'm not waiting to see and then I want you to take 1 second. If the third person you meet does the exact same thing that the last three did, I really want to say, I want you to maybe just take a step back and say, wow, they did the same thing. Don't say, well, all women or all men are just alike. I really would like you to say, no, the common denominator of all three of those people you met is you. Yep. So what did I do? What did I bring to the table? What was I thinking? What did I say? What did I say to all of them that made this response? Start reevaluating what you're saying, what you're doing, so you can look at what you're drawing and attracting. The bottom line is us. You've been listening to He Said, She Said on IntellectualRadio.com. Every week we try to bring you topics that talk about I want you to get in our inbox. Tell us what you're thinking. I want you to tell us what you'd like us to talk about.
Slide in her DM.
He said, she said, inbox.
Her DM.
You can inbox me.
I'm open. Where? How?
I don't care. Facebook. Go to Facebook and Yatu Marvel, NYATU Marvel, like the comic books or the superhero. Inbox me. I'm down to entertain.
On the video.
I'm tagged in the video. I'm accepting friend requests. I'm open for the task. I'm up for the task.
We're up to healing, you guys. We are trying to unify.
To heal you.
That's right. I'm gonna make a big announcement soon.
She doesn't want to heal you. You heal yourself. And Yatu wants us to unify.
Absolutely.
And Doc got something to say.
I don't.
Okay.
Just love on one
another. Just love, all love. KP.
Know your personnel. Know your personnel, and that starts with yourself.
April 19th, we're going to do this live at room 183, 4167, 183rd Street. We're going to do this again. We're going to talk about this live. Thank you to all my sponsors, Journey to Wholeness Center at what the address is escaping me. New England Drive in Oak Lawn, 708-634-3664. Contact journeytowholeness.org. Morte Cosmetics, where I'm always wearing my runway red lipstick. I got some new ones coming up. They came in the mail. I'm excited to open them. And Allman Home Improvement at 708-238-1839. I want you to contact them if you need new windows. And then I want you to come back here every week, same time, same place, here on IntellectualRadio.com. We have He Said, She Said. See you next week, 2 o'clock. Thank you, guys.
Peace.
I'm your ice cream. Let me melt for you. You're the sweetest thing to dip in my fondue. Oh, oh. Have a spoon or two.